Hello and welcome to day 7. As you can see, I'm back at 5-0. I had to move down because my shot did not work too well. I ran pretty bad, got a few coolers, and few people making very loose hero calls against me, which ended up to be right. Um, Overall, I think the play at 10-0 is pretty erratic. I mean, one guy just 3-bet, 5-bet shoved against me, blind versus blind with queen 4 offsuit. I mean, I saw a lot of pretty crazy plays. Gonna be betting here. So now the bankroll is at $70. Could have moved down a little bit sooner, but I was a little bit tilted near the end of the session, and I kept on playing. So it's gonna take a while till I get back to 120 to take my second shot. Yeah. Just gonna give up here. I think there's actually more fish at 10-0. I noticed a lot of more non-full stack players at 10-0 than I do at 5-0. Could check raise here. Could bet. I'm just gonna go bet, 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 because I don't expect people at 5-0 to be too aggressive when check 2. At 50-0 and above, I would definitely consider a check raise a lot more. Just bet, bet, bet. That's unfortunate. Funny he did not raise the river. This is a pretty close spot. I'm gonna c-bet anyway. 3-bet or not 3-bet, that is the question. I'm just gonna go with a flat. You could definitely 3-bet this. It's definitely strong enough. Suited connectors. I'm gonna be 3-betting. This is not the best board to see, but he's also gonna have like ace-x suiteds, which don't hit his board, which are gonna fold. On the turn, I don't think I have too much fold equity. Hits this range pretty hard, so I'm just gonna take my free card. This is suspicious. This guy 3-bet very small and checked this pretty dry board, so I'm not gonna take a stab at it. Not expecting him to fold, even if he has overcards. Checks again. I'm gonna check again and give up on this river. Just gonna call here. We already have a caller from shortish stack, which is likely to be a fish, and the opener also doesn't have a full stack. So I'm happy to play a pot 3-way or 4-way with him, with this hand in position. That's definitely a good turn card here. And he donk bets pot, which is pretty weird. I mean, he could have a better king, but I mean, there's only one king left in the deck, so can't really give him too much credit for it. And now he shoves. I don't think we can fold this. I mean, pocket eights and pocket nines would have likely check raise the flop. So there's only one king left in the deck. I just gotta call this. And we split the pot. He checks back, probably doesn't have much. I'm opening up a bit in the small blind. Um, Over a large sample size, I show a profit opening any 2 in the small blind. So if you're looking to play more hands, that's a spot where you can open up your range. I'm gonna bet the turn because he has a lot of Queen X hands and 7X hands which are gonna fold. Don't expect an ace to fold on the turn. I have a check to block check 10. Calls pretty quickly. Probably gonna go for an overbet here to get him to fold an ace if he has it. Probably has a weak ace here. But he just quickly folded, so it was probably on a flush draw. Or he just quickly folded an ace. That's possible too. Giving up on the turn here because I don't expect too much fold equity on that card. On the ace river, I'm gonna bet it because I do expect pocket 6s and 5s and 4s to fold, a 7x to fold unless it's a7. And I think an 8 would have probably bet out on the river. Again, we have to give up here. No point in betting this river, we don't really represent anything. Four five suited. I would 3-bet if this guy was full stacked, but because he's not, I'm not gonna play this. This board does not hit his range too much. Let's start with a call. I do have king high. Checks back. Probably does not have much. Can probably take it down with a bet. We don't really represent much except for a flush. or slow play 3. He raises, and river raises are generally never a bluff, even all the way up to 200 and L. It's rare that you see a bluff raise on the river. I got burned many times thinking my opponents were capable of bluff raising rivers, only to be shown the nuts every single time. So very cautious when it comes to calling river raises nowadays. Pocket rockets, we get action. Hopefully somebody 3-bets, but that doesn't happen. We see the flop 5-way. Question is, do I check and hope one of these guys bets with a queen, or do I just bet myself? And I'm just gonna bet myself, because on this board I really would not like if the flop checks through. And I know betting into 4 players looks pretty strong, but I do expect to get called by any queen. I'm gonna bet a little bit smaller, because I don't want to scare off a queen. And we get raised, so looks like he has 8-9 or a set, and there is really not much I can do but fold here. We could make an argument for check raising the flop here, but I think check calling is gonna be superior. The reason being that when I check raise this flop, I don't really represent too many hands, ace-8 and pocket eights specifically, so I don't think we can get much fold equity from an ace. And we do have some showdown value, so that's why I decided to call. This is a pretty bad board to be c-betting on. It hits his range very often. Now that he checked, you could still have a 10 like Jack 10 or 10-9. Check it. Probably gonna be grinding it out all day today, trying to get back to 120. Probably not gonna make it today. I mean, 120, that's 10 buy-ins. So expect to see another 5-0 video tomorrow. Overbetting here, because if he somehow turned a jack, or he has pocket 8s, 9s, 10s, I want to get maximum fold equity. We get dunk bet into here. This could be some sort of pair. Could just be air. I'm gonna take one off. See what he does on the turn. He checks to us, so I expect to have the best hand very often, but there's not really much reason to bet, because if he does have a 5 or a 7, he's gonna call. So we just check it. And now I could turn my hand into a bluff to get him to fold a 5 or a 7. So that's what I'm gonna do. Get a tiny bet from this Bronze Star player over here on the turn. Definitely think my hand is good most of the time, and if not, we have chances to improve. Now he's betting the river. I don't really expect him to have bet the turn with a jack, but it's definitely possible. I think if he turned a queen, he would have bet bigger, but it's definitely possible. That's all that said. It's pretty tough for him to be bluffing in this spot. Even though he's a Bronze Star player, don't expect to see too many bluffs with this half-side spot bet. So I'm gonna make a nilly fold. Here I'm not sure what happens. I think it went check check, check check, and now he's betting pot. So I'm gonna look him up. This guy is pretty short, so don't feel too comfortable 3-betting here. Now he checks to me, I'm definitely betting. And he check calls, which is very weird. That card is definitely a good card to continue barreling on, so that's what I'm gonna do. He calls pretty quickly again. So, I mean, a 7 is in his range, a weak 8 is in his range. You could have a hand like Ace 3 of hearts. I'm not sure if he's gonna fold, but it's his last dollar, so I'm gonna just try it. And he did have a 7. This is not a good board to be c-betting, for the reason that he's often gonna have a 10 or a 9 or a jack or a queen. But now that he checked, I feel pretty comfortable in betting the turn. Maybe he has a small pair or a suited ace, and he calls a turn. So now his range is mostly a 9 or a 10. Question is, will he fold it? I think he might if I overbet this river. But he doesn't, and he had a king. So he played it pretty deceptively. It was pretty hard to put him on that hand. This board checked through, but I'm against 3 players, and the 10 could definitely hit their range. So I'm not gonna bluff it. I could check raise and then bet big on the river to represent the 5, but I'm not gonna do that here. This is a pretty loose defend, but it's against the button, and I think I'll lose less than 100 big blinds per 100 by calling here. This is a pretty dry board. I'm just gonna check raise. You could check call and then check raise a turn, which is usually my preferred play on this type of board, but I can't really turn too much equity unless an 8 or a 9 comes, or a jack. So I prefer to have some backdoors if I'm gonna float out of position to check raise a turn. The turn check raise is a very effective play, which you should definitely add to your arsenal if you aren't doing it already. Most players, even up to 100 and 200 in L, are not capable of check raise bluffing turns. So all the regulars are pretty used to bet folding the turn, even with strong hands like top pair or over pairs. Here I'm gonna check call, because if I check raise here, my hand is gonna look way too strong. It's actually a spot where it's actually a good spot to be bluffing on. They both check the turn. I'm gonna check again and hope I get a bet from a 10. But we don't. So maybe I should have just bet out. See what they had. And one guy did have a 10. Fortunately, he did not bet out on the river. This is a good squeeze spot, but this guy is short, so I'm not gonna do it. I think I can dong bet this board pretty effectively. I do have some backdoors, some overcards. So I'm gonna be playing 5 more minutes in this session and end the video. These guys are incredibly slow. Okay, there we go. All that waiting just to get 3-bet. Good squeeze here. I'm probably gonna do that. It's a suited connector, which is in my 3-bet range from the blinds. I get a pretty good flop, but not one where I expect to get a lot of full equity. Question is how to continue. I think I'm gonna go with a small bet. Hope to not get raised. And get some folds, and we get 2 folds, which is perfect. I did not bet this flop because I don't expect to get called by much worse if I do. He checked back the flop and called the turn, so I expect him to have a lot of ace highs with the flush draw, and he had ace high without a flush draw. I'm barreling this turn because even though he could have Jack 10, Queen 9, King Queen, he definitely can have just like Ace 9, 9 8, 9 10, 9 Jack, which are gonna fold. On this river I don't expect to get much value. I only expect to get called by 2 pairs, so I'm just gonna check it. And he had King Jack. I'm gonna 3-bet here. I'm gonna close down the tables. C-bet this. Pretty standard. Gonna check this flop and check call. My hand rates to be pretty good. Now that he just bets 5 cents, expect him to fold a lot to a raise. So I'm just gonna raise it and turn my hand into a bluff. Don't wanna give him a cheap turn with a hand that is very likely folding. Gonna bet here with my flush draw. Pretty dry board. And we take it down. So yeah, bankroll is now at 67, so we lost a little bit, but that's okay. And see you guys tomorrow.